Dr. Frita is a triple board certified nephrologist and a medical expert in internal medicine, pediatrics, and obesity medicine. She does a live stream, on her YouTube channel every Monday at noon Eastern time on trending medical topics in the headlines and celebrity health. This is in the headlines. So, doctor, I want to talk about this because right now we have a 79-year-old president who falls asleep in cabinet meetings, not tired, not resting his eyes, asleep, his head down, his eyes closed, jolt, awake. And we have seen, just like we see in an older relative, but this seems to be much more serious, and it seems to be advancing. As you are watching as a doctor, take us through this. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that if you go through and you look at dementia and you go through the signs and symptoms checklist, we are all seeing it live and on stage from President Donald Trump. We know that dementia has memory loss, but not just that. And we've seen him have trouble with word finding, forgetting names, forgetting meeting with people who are really large and well-known names, people whom he should know. He's forgotten them. There's also issues with judgment. We've seen him have poor judgment, and judgment that makes him think it's okay to say things like quiet piggy, judgment that makes him think it's okay to talk to Somalian supporters and call them garbage or say that they come from garbage. His judgment is off as the leader of the free world. You also, with dementia, will have impulse control losses. And certainly we've seen that with him, where he does things that just really don't seem like they have controlled thought processes. Oh, and then tangential thought. Being on stage, you're supposed to be talking about one thing, and then you start talking about McDonald's, and then you talk about the Gulf of America, going off into tangents. The other thing that's very important, Don, is when we think about the risk factors for dementia. Of course, being over the age of 65, and we know that he's 79 years old, also family history. President Donald Trump.
It's a history of Alzheimer's in his family, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. His dad, Fred Trump Sr., had Alzheimer's, diagnosed in 1991, and he struggled with it till he passed away in 1999. And so we're seeing signs and symptoms real time. We know he has various risk factors, and he still had that MRI, and he has not revealed what it is. Unless he has, because we know he told that reporter, I don't know what my MRI was from. It wasn't my brain because I passed the cognitive test, which is something you could never do. So, they used to say a hit dog will holler. It sounds like it could have been a brain MRI. And if we're seeing it, Don, his cabinet, his family, everyone around him is seeing it also.
They're seeing it as well. I want to play this. This is what you're talking about, the MRIs and all of that. First, let's play the MRI. This is the MRI thing.
What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing.
What? I mean, he wouldn't know. He doesn't know. I mean, can you imagine if they asked Joe Biden that? And I mean, what is? I wasn't of the brain because I know. Please, what are you seeing and hearing when you see this?
It's all ridiculous. Of course, he would know what the MRI was for, unless his cognitive decline is even worse than I think. But the other thing, it goes to judgment. If you're dealing with 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and you say, hey, did someone take something from the kitchen? A 3-year-old might say, it wasn't me and I didn't take a cookie, because they don't have the judgment to know that they're telling on themselves. It feels like he's doing that in that moment. And so people don't just get MRIs for fun or just random, especially not the president of the United States of America. So it feels like they're really definitely trying to hide what that MRI was from. And he seems to be very sensitive, because I don't know who's doing the counting, but he's mentioned getting acing this cognitive test more times than I can remember. And so it really sounds like he's calling attention to something that we all see related to his memory.
Do you remember, I mean, this was just recently when he was asked about what he said about Venezuela, and he said, you would release the report, right? You would release the report, and then he doesn't release the report. He's like, I never said that. And I mean, he had just said it, I believe, like 3 to 5 days before.
Yes.
Let's play it, and I want to get your response. Here it is.
President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release. No problem.
You said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike on September 2nd off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth now says...
You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
Yeah, and kudos to that journalist. Was that Rachel Scott?
Because she's one of the great. She's from ABC, and she's a very brilliant black woman, black reporter. I mean, just a reporter. She happens to be black, but she didn't fall. She didn't take the bait.
Exactly. She stood strong, and she repeated what he said, and she stood up to him, which is something to be said because we know that he's had quite the history with female journalists, black female journalists. Oh, he just loves to insult them. But yes, he forgot. Now, we do know that he has a history of not telling the truth, and he will lie purposefully with impunity. But it really felt like he forgot the way that he said it so emphatically. And if so, then that's another one of those signs, memory loss, which could be consistent with dementia. Regardless of his diagnosis, I'm not his doctor, I don't know. Regardless of that, what I can say is that he is displaying signs of dementia day by day. What his diagnosis is, hey, maybe the MRI will tell us. But regardless, he's got several signs and symptoms, several risk factors. And so it's something I'm certainly suspicious of, that he has dementia.
Why so many cognitive tests that he seems to be so proud of? And it's not a good, I don't think it's a good look for him to have a 79-year-old president bragging about the number of cognitive tests that he has, and, you know, that he passed all of these tests with flying colors. I mean, it's just sort of, you know, brings more attention to it. Why so many cognitive tests?
It brings more attention. The cognitive tests are likely because there are suspicions or worries that he has cognitive decline. You don't just do cognitive tests for someone who is not displaying symptoms. And the fact that he doesn't seem to know that, and that he's bragging on these tests that are very simple to people who do not have dementia, who do not have cognitive decline, he's bragging on them as if he's taking a neurosurgery board certification, as if he's taking the LSAT or some major examination. These are simple tests that people with normal memory, normal cognitive function can pass. So this gets back to that judgment part of it, Don. I feel like he doesn't have the proper judgment to know that he's making himself look a bit silly by passing, if he's passing, because to my knowledge, those tests have not been released to us. If he's passing those tests, he doesn't understand really how rudimentary it is. It's not impressive. And so his judgment by bragging on those tests is off. And I'm just thinking about more signs and symptoms. Even sometimes the way you get a loss of visual spatial memory if you have dementia. And I'm thinking back to when he was on a trip overseas. It might have been to Japan, and one of the women there was kind of grabbed him by the elbow to guide him, you know, and sometimes when he's getting off.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, we have it. Yeah.
Do you see that? Yes.
So if you sense that someone is kind of getting a little bit lost or their spatial awareness is off, that could be another sign of dementia. Or if they're getting off of Air Force One and walking in a way that's not a straight line, but almost meandering or wandering instead of going directly, another potential sign and symptom. Again, I'm not his doctor, but these are signs of dementia. And Donald Trump is displaying them on a daily basis. Not to mention, looks like they're cutting his schedule a bit short. He likes to brag about all of his stamina, but his days are shorter and shorter. And he's presenting himself in front of crowds that are very Donald Trump friendly, mostly, where he's not having to be sharp, not having to be ready with any kind of comebacks. So, yeah.
I want to ask you just real quickly. I wanted to ask you about, you know, sometimes older people, especially if they are exhibiting some of these things and their world is shrinking, or, you know, they feel like they're being attacked, they start attacking, even if you're just asking them a normal question. I've seen it with relatives who are senior people. I want to play this when he calls a reporter piggy. Watch.
So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You got to find out, what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares.
Sir,
Yeah,
is
Jennifer,
there
go ahead.
something
Go ahead.
incriminating in the file,
Venezuela, sir.
Quiet, McGee.
On Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings.
Okay, so that, and, you know, calling Ilhan Omar garbage and yelling at reporters saying that they're dumb and they're stupid, and, you know, which network do you work for? And then, so does that say, because he just seems to be really angry and defensive?
He does. He does. And another sign of dementia, personality changes, psychological changes, having paranoia, having anger, all fall into being signs of dementia. And can we go back to the judgment again? If I were going to call someone piggy, which I would not, I would make sure that I'm slim and trim with 18% body fat, but that's an aside.
Dr. Frita, don't you specialize in obesity?
Tell him, give me a call.
I was just like, because you told us about his cankles, or the big ankles. That's obesity and heart issues, right? And right,
It could be. I don't know what it is in him.
It could be, yeah. But there was a
signs that could be consistent.
Thank you, Dr. Frita. I know that you have a very busy day. We appreciate you taking time out for us. So now take time out for your patients, because they're in really good hands. Thank you, Dr. Frita. Make sure you tune in to Dr. Frita's broadcast. She does a live stream on her YouTube channel every Monday at noon Eastern time on trending medical topics, in the headlines, and celebrity health. Dr. Frita Show. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time, with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.